It's all right. I wanted to do that all over again anyway. So, all right. Back from the stop, whatever. Got some RD1 thanks to Stoops winning a game. Power rankings. Week 6. Team A meets Team B on a neutral field. That's the only metric for the power rankings. Let's get into it. Mississippi State, you're dead last, as per usual. But you looked the best you looked all season, getting whooped by... Not getting whooped, but I thought the quarterback looked solid. Van Buren in his first road start. It's pretty bad, though. You lose by 20-something points, whatever it was, and that's your best showing. But Mississippi State, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on. Their defense looked the best it's looked all season, so I'll give them credit there. Florida, you didn't embarrass yourself. Thank you, Billy Napier. You did not embarrass college football. That's probably the biggest win you're going to get. And how did you not do that? You were on a bye. So congratulations, Florida. You're number 25. All right, 14. Auburn. Oh, God. See, this is how it happens. I've got people reaching out to me, Auburn fans. I love the show. Can't watch it anymore. You're too mean to Hugh. You're laughing at Auburn. And this is how it started. This was last year with A&M fans. And before that, I don't know, whoever else we've run off. This is how it always goes. They get mad at me for saying the truth. And then slowly but surely they start to come around. They're like, you were right. We got to fire his ass. Hugh Freeze, congratulations. Oklahoma had no receivers starting a first time in over 100 years. Oklahoma had a true freshman first start at quarterback and won the damn game on the road. Congratulations, Hugh Freeze. You're Auburn Tigers, number 14. You absolutely blew another game. That's 3 at home. You were favored in all of them. You're number 14. Number 13, Vanderbilt. You were off this week, so not a ton of movement, but still, we've seen signs of life for Vanderbilt, loving that they're at least competing this year, unlike the past 10, 15 years, whatever. All right, Oklahoma, number 12. Is that fair? I can't dog Auburn and move you up a bunch of spots because you snuck past Auburn. Your defense is elite. Your offense is god-awful. Although Michael Hawkins, he looked pretty good. He had the explosive run, had the big pass. The moment wasn't too big for him. I think you can build around him. The offensive line probably looked as good as it has all season this week. So there's something to build on going into Texas when you're probably going to get your ass kicked. But today we're celebrating you. Number 12, Oklahoma. Number 11, Arkansas. Good night. This was your opportunity, Arkansas, to be 4-1, possibly get College game day with Tennessee coming to town next week. You blew it. Now, I don't know, maybe just Texas A&M's that much better. We'll get to A&M in a minute, but this is another classic Arkansas A&M game where they let it slip through their fingers, had their opportunities, big plays, trick plays. The fake punt was phenomenal, but can't protect. That may say more about Texas A&M's defense, but looked a little bit like last season when KJ is running for his life. Just aside from JaQuinton Jackson, aside from Taylon Green, I don't know what this offensive identity. We're starting to lose it a little bit here. So tough game for old Arkansas. Had it. But anytime Arkansas plays Texas A&M, bet on A&M, and you're going to be looking good. Number 10, biggest fall that I can recall in a long time in these power rankings. Ole Miss Rebels. Lane, Whiffen, Kiffin. But drink one out to you, Lane. Maybe you are angling for that Florida job the way you were coaching this Saturday. That was pathetic. Again, credit to Kentucky. We'll get to them in a minute, but with everything you had in front of you, you still got it in front of you, but man, they were looking to be a lock for the college football playoff. Now it's totally up in the air. If Ole Miss plays like this the rest of the way, they're going to lose 3 or 4 more games. They're not going to sniff the college football playoff. Got dominated on the line of scrimmage. Jackson Dart looked very shaky. I don't know what the hell they were doing for most of the game. Could not move the ball. And their defense, which looked pretty solid for much of the day, it gave in when they needed them the most. So again, Ole Miss is completely smoke and mirrors until they prove something in conference play. I'm not giving them any props for beating the teams they've beaten this year. They got to beat someone with the pulse. All right, number 9, Kentucky. Again, hell of a win. Mark Stoops grew a pair. Go check out the Emergency Podcast if you missed it. Brock Vandegrift played his best football today. The defense looks phenomenal. It's going to have to carry them. This is very similar to Oklahoma here, but better win on the season. Kentucky in significantly tougher challenges they faced. Nearly knocked off Georgia. Of course, they got their doors blown off by South Carolina. But they're getting better. They're clearly getting better. Just got a top 10 win. They're only their second win against a top 10 opponent on the road since 1980. So credit Kentucky for not giving in. I thought the season was in the toilet. They still got everything virtually ahead of them. This is right where I thought they'd be at 4-2 after 6 games, or are they doing the 3-2? 3-2 after 5 games. This is right where I thought they'd be, just not the order that I thought they'd get there. All right, how about A&M, number 8? I think their offense is getting better and better each week, and their defense is starting to come around. This is what we're starting to see from what we wanted to see from a Mike Elko defense. Big win. Now you go epic game, maybe the best game of the weekend. Next week, Missouri comes to Texas A&M. We'll learn a lot more about Texas A&M, but being in the top half, being 4-1 after the first 5 games of the Mike Elko era, I think that's a major win for A&M because they just keep getting better and better. And if you're 5-1, playoff talk is premature till next week. But if you beat Missouri, I think we can start talking about Texas A&M potentially being a college football playoff team. Until then, again, let's pump the brakes on that talk. But hell of a win, number 8 in the power rankings. Defense leading the way. Marcel Reed getting better and better each week. Number 7, LSU. He looks a hell of a lot better than I thought you would this week. Garrett Nussmeier, he had a couple mistakes, but I don't assume anybody watched LSU because it was on the same time as Georgia, Alabama. But they scored 2 touchdowns in 3 plays, completely dominated South Alabama. Garrett Nussmeier was firing on all cylinders. The defense, best performance they've had. In South Alabama's pretty quality offensive team. So you've impressed me. You impressed me this week, LSU. You're number 7. Number 6, South Carolina. They were on a bye. I'm already seeing it. How is South Carolina above LSU? Well, we all know the refs won that game. South Carolina had them beat. And I don't know, South Carolina's defense looks nasty. So give me South Carolina, top 6. I think they've earned that. Missouri was also on a bye, number 5, so no real movement there. I got Georgia, number 4. Not a ton of separation between 1 through 4. Clearly, we just saw Georgia go, well, really they got their ass kicked in the first half, and then they made this tremendous comeback and probably should have won at Alabama, but they, at the end, I'm concerned now. I'm officially concerned. I know Carson Beck came alive there late in the game, but I've been saying it. Nobody listens. Here's the problem with saying bold, crazy things. When you're accurate, people don't listen to you because they just think you're just saying crazy shit. But I've been saying it. Georgia looks not itself on offense. And that showed itself today. Carson Beck, I thought at a point there they should bench him. I mean, he was playing that poorly. Credit him for putting it together. But was that just because Alabama fell asleep and they were up 30-7? And when they had to make the plays, they just picked Carson Beck off to win the football game. We can't. This is what happens when you fall asleep for half a damn game, and there's no excuse. In a game this magnitude, with the country watching, you had all day, all 2 weeks to prepare, and this is what you showed up with. I think Georgia's offense is a major, major, major issue right now. And leading the charge there is Carson Beck. So, number 4, Georgia, they're not ruled out of anything. They'll probably still make the playoff. They'll probably still be in the Final Four to win the national title. But they're looking like a distant 4th right now to me in the SEC. So, give me Texas, number 3. I don't know what the hell that was. Mississippi State's god-awful. And you kind of, anybody that missed it, I mean, that game was 7-6 right before halftime. They scored late. Sounds like Quinn Ewers is going to be back. in 2 weeks when they next take the field against Oklahoma. So that could steady the ship there. But I think it's just reading their press clippings and knowing that Mississippi State's garbage, which they are. But I don't know. You're playing with your food a little too much this week. So I docked them a couple spots. Tennessee didn't play, but now that Oklahoma's won another game here in the conference, their schedule or their resume looks a little bit better, and Tennessee's just looked dominant. Not really any separation between Texas and Tennessee, but again, Mississippi State is dog shit, and it was too close for my comfort right there. So that's why I docked Texas. And then Alabama, man, what a jump. Jumped out 28-0 lead on Georgia and really just owned that game for 3/4 of it till they fell asleep late in the game. And I was having fun with, well, it's true, but Nick Saban would have never blown a 30-7 lead like Kalen DeBoer just did. But Alabama responded when they had to. Jalen Milroe looks like the best player in the country. Give me Alabama today as the best team in the SEC. So let's get into it. No credit for State. Hell no. Mississippi State's dog shit. They're not going to win a single conference game this year. You can't. No, they're awful. Starting a true freshman on the road, first time ever. No, they're god awful. What else we got? Any questions in here? But they better not be as stupid as that. We're not giving Mississippi State credit for hanging with Texas. That's asinine. Could South Carolina go 9-3 off what we've seen today? Perhaps. Shane says, Ryan Williams. How old is he, Shane? He was fire. He might be the best receiver in the country. That's insane. What else we got? Georgia gonna bust Texas ass. Not the Georgia I just saw with Carson Beck looking like shit on national television for much of the game. No, Texas is gonna beat the hell out of Georgia. If those two teams have, these teams are basically who they are now. We've seen them 4 or 5 times now. We've watched Texas. We've seen Georgia. One team has slept walk through damn near the entire season, and one team has slept walk through one half versus Mississippi State. I think Texas defense is better than Georgia. Did you not just watch Jalen Milroe just tear a hole in their ass, go up 28-0? Look like they weren't even there. I don't know. I'm concerned about Georgia. And I put this out there. Look, I'm not predicting this today. So Georgia, we're 3-1, right? We still got to go to Texas. Of course, Ole Miss, all of a sudden, that looks like a very easily winnable game. But if Georgia loses at Texas and loses to Tennessee, and they'll probably be favored in both of these. So I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying if it does, if they go 9-3, they should not make the playoff. Because why are we putting them in? Because they're beating Auburn? Because they're beating State? Because they're beating UMass, Georgia Tech, Florida? I mean, their best win may be Ole Miss, who just lost to Kentucky. The other one may be Clemson, but who gives a shit about Clemson? Georgia better clean some shit up because they were not impressive tonight, aside from their comeback when Alabama took its foot off the gas. This is bold. Arkansas will beat Texas. I'm not saying they can't, but been a hog. I may have to book it for being wrong because that's. I would think Texas in Fayetteville will be a 13-point favorite. So, but hell, Kentucky was a 17-point underdog, and they won today. So you might be right, but I don't think so. Does Gamecocks beat Ole Miss next week? That's going to be fascinating. Yeah. Wait, is that next week? Yeah, that might be the best game. I've been having a couple bourbons. Yeah. So Ole Miss at South Carolina. Jeez. We're going to find out a lot about both these teams. I mean, this is a playoff game right here. The loser of South Carolina Ole Miss is eliminated in my mind from making the college football playoff. But the winner should be right in the mix because that's a hell of a win. And right now, based on is Sellers going to be back? I would think he would be with 2 weeks to prepare. I would kind of lean South Carolina based on what we just saw from Ole Miss. They did not look very impressive. What else we got? Texas versus Alabama, an SEC championship game, lock of the year. That would be a hell of a game. Rematch of the last 2 years, both of them. Well, no, Texas beat the shit out of Alabama, but 2 years ago that was a good game. So hopefully we get closer to that. Would be a nice close game. Not if you're a Texas fan, you want them to be dog shit. But yeah, what else we got here? I still can't believe Kentucky won that game. Cousin Shane, which fan base should be panicking right now? Auburn or man? That's not even. Come on, Shane. Come on. Arkansas. I don't understand why anybody thought Arkansas was going to win this game today, including you, Cousin Shane. I know you were picking it from your heart. And yes, I would have loved to see Arkansas win, but they just never beat A&M. Why in the hell do we expect it? You should expect to have a lead and have your heart ripped out your chest, and that's what happened. That's what happens every damn year. Now, Auburn, they sold their soul for this Hugh Freeze, who beat Nick Saban twice. He's going to save us, and we're going to sit here. We're going to be 5-0. These are all winnable games, and we're sitting here. We're in 2-3. We haven't even got to the hard part of the schedule yet. Yeah, for Auburn, and it's maybe the worst damn thing that could ever happen to them is Georgia got their ass handed to them, because now Georgia is, their margin for error is gone. They're not going to overlook Auburn now. They're going to beat the shit out of Auburn. So if I'm most panicked, it's got to be Auburn. Auburn may not make a bowl game in year 2 with this coach that they think is going to get them to the college football playoff somehow. And I'm not seeing too many winnable games here. Even now that Kentucky looked good. What's a winnable game? Vanderbilt, ULM. That may be it. 4-8 might be 5-7 might be best case. So yeah, I'm panicked if I'm an Auburn fan. Of course, maybe not. You seen how they're recruiting? That's all we care about. They're recruiting. Okay, what else we got here? Where do we go from here as an Arkansas fan? Here's the thing. I mean, I get it. It was another gut-wrenching loss, but it looks a hell of a lot better than it did last year, doesn't it? With Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino, and the defense is coming along. I get it. You're tired of close losses, but could be a lot worse. You could be Auburn, could be State, could be Florida. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are worse than the Arkansas Razorbacks. You're right there. You're knocking at the door. And you got all these home games. I mean, again, brutal loss. I get it. But if you knock off Tennessee, if you knock off LSU, all of a sudden, I'm telling you, LSU is not that good. All of a sudden, Ole Miss doesn't look that tough. You win 1 or 2 of these games, you are going to have one hell of a season still to come. You'll beat the shit out of Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech. There's you 5 wins. So, yeah, you can get 6, 7 wins in a year where everybody and their mother had you being one of the worst teams in the conference and Sam Pittman fired. I think that's a good year. But there's going to be a lot of... It's easy for me to say. I didn't get my heart ripped out this lovely Saturday. Does Mizzou versus Bama play each other undefeated? Who's Alabama? Ooh, nope. I mean, Alabama's the best shot, but they have to go to Tennessee. They got South Carolina. How about Mizzou? That's a good one. If Mizzou gets over A&M, then it's likely. It's likely they would be 2 undefeated. But the way Missouri's been playing, no, I don't think so. I think Missouri's got to get a lot better quickly. And thankfully, they've had the bye week to do it. What else we got? Same question. Anything else here? Joe says, Brady Cook going to march into Tuscaloosa and stomp. Did you just watch that game I just saw? They just put a mud hole with Georgia's ass. Now Mizzou's going to do it to them? I don't know. I'm right here with Scott. Milrose is your Heisman winner. He looks like it. He looks like the best damn player in the country to me. Except maybe Brock Vandagriff. What else we got? Any questions here? Looking for a good old Cousin Shane tweet. Georgia beats Auburn 52-7. I could see it. I mean, it's going to be something like that. Cousin William says Mark Stoops won this game over Ole Miss in preparation of losing to Vanderbilt. Welcome to life as a Kentucky fan, I guess, sir. Thoughts on the milk bet, says I'm feeling good because A&M won. You notice Shane's being very quiet about all that. He's hoping I forget it. Will Missouri really be favored on the road against 4-1 Texas A&M? I don't see it. I think it'll be close. I'm not saying A&M's going to be like a 10-point favorite or something, but maybe a 5-point favorite. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. The way Missouri's playing, the way Texas A&M's playing, it's in Kyle Field. I love it. We'll have to see. All right. Anything else here? I'm seeing the same questions over and over. I think I've had too many bourbons. Do you think Kentucky goes 8-4 or 9-3? Would have been a silly ass question before today, but today happened. So let's get it. Can we get to 8-4? Hell yeah! This is what I was telling Shay. I mean, on the Emergency Podcast, go check it out if you haven't already. I mean, I said, not that I think Kentucky's going to the college football playoff, but we can't rule it out. I mean, who are they losing to? Tennessee and Texas, right? You win one of those, you're going to be outside looking in, but you might be able to get there. So I certainly think Kentucky can get to 8-4, which after the third week of the season, hell, after the second week of the season, certainly didn't look likely. Did not look likely. Tyler said, I would love an all-UT match for the SEC championship game. I would too. That'd be a hell of a game right there. Hell of a game. Anybody else? Oh, we still haven't played anybody yet, guy. I swear, one of these teams is going to make the SEC championship one year, and you guys are going to say, well, I ain't played nobody yet. Ain't played nobody. Can A&M and Mizzou get SEC Nation next week? Game day's headed to Berkeley. Yeah, how about that? Cal, Miami. Where will SEC Nation be? Let's see. They could be down to Georgia, Auburn, Georgia. Ole Miss, South Carolina. South Carolina, I believe, has already gotten it. So, I think Tennessee at Arkansas would be another good bet. It'll be Missouri or A&M or Tennessee, Arkansas, I think, for SEC Nation, if I had to guess. Cousin Jeremy says, the way the SEC season is going, will Cousin Shane run out of booze? I think he's close. I think he's mighty close there. Who has the best defense in the SEC, says Cousin David. Best defense. Probably maybe Texas or Tennessee. I think it's one of those two. Those may be the two most complete teams in the conference. Maybe Alabama, I think, has got the best player. And if they play like they did in the first half against Georgia, maybe we throw them in there. But I don't know if to credit Alabama's defense or to blame Georgia's. Georgia looked like dog shit. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. I'm hitting the panic button if I'm a Georgia fan. I really am. I know it's just one loss. You can rebound, but this is 4 games we've seen them. And 3, the offense has looked shitty in the vast majority of it. So, Grant says, thoughts on A&M defense versus Mizzou offense? Well, Mizzou offense versus Vandy defense, which may be the worst in the league, that was about equal footing, was it not? So, advantage Texas A&M defense, I think. I thought they corralled Arkansas for the better part of today. JH, I'm a believer now in this Sooner magic. I had heard all about it, but do they have enough Sooner magic to beat Texas? No, they do not. They'd need it coming out their ass if they're going to beat Texas Longhorns. So not that much magic, but I do believe they got enough to beat weak-ass Hugh Freeze, which we just saw that. Anything else? I'm trying to find some good Cousin Shane questions here. Does the SEC still get multiple teams in the play? Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, minimum 4, but I don't think any more than 5. I think they'll always, the SEC will always get multiple teams in the playoff for sure. Anything else here? I'm losing it here. All right, unless I see a question here, I'm going to jump off here. How does South Carolina defense stack up against Ole Miss? Pretty good, I think. We saw South Carolina just suffocate Kentucky. You know, not that really matters game by game, week by week, but Ole Miss in the trenches is an issue. And South Carolina on the defensive front particularly is strong. I think they can take real advantage of Ole Miss on their offensive line. And the thing you got to watch out for, it's getting pathetic, but just Ole Miss and their fake injuries. They'll get you. Didn't help them against Kentucky, but they were doing it the whole damn game. Cousin Shane, they're asking you, are any flooding your way? I hope not. As far as I know, Cousin Shane is safe, secure, and I do know for a fact, because I used to live next door to him, his house is 15 feet from the street. So it'd have to be a major, major flood for it to get to Cousin Shane. He should be good. Yeah, I don't know if he knows how to swim, though, so that could be an issue. Oh, we got a super chat here. Oh, appreciate you too, Slick here. Equal to the what a comment here from Too Slick here. He just gave us $17, equal to the amount of points Lane Whiffen scored today. Love it. Thank you, cousin Too Slick there. Jeremy Day, Mike. The way things are going in the SEC, you're going to need a liver transplant. I'm way ahead of you. I think I've got a problem here. Anything else here? Ole Miss gifted Kentucky fans 4 more years of Stoopsies. This is what Mark Stoops is. This is why people don't understand. This is why Mark Stoops is a C coach. You say, how in the hell is that possible? He just beat number 6 in the country. That's a plus in the coach grade, right? Absolutely. That was a hell of a win. But that just cancels out losing at home to South Carolina. That was a minus. So a minus and a plus, you're right back to even, C. So unless Mark Stoops pulls off, if Mark Stoops pulls off another big win, like let's say he beats Texas or Tennessee, he'll lose to Vanderbilt or Auburn or some shit like that to even out. He's even Steven is what he is. Doesn't mean he's a bad coach. Just means he's even. And that's not going to win you anything in the SEC with the talent. Kentucky's got good talent, but they don't have elite talent. You don't have elite talent, you got a C coach, 7-5, 8-4. That's what you're going to be year in and year out, which is good for Kentucky. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying. It's just C. It's a C grade. I'm a C student. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. I think I've gotten to the part where I'm bashing Mark Stoops. I'm going to jump off here. But one more. Hilly Goose, great question. Most likely upset next week. Let's go over the schedule real quick. Tennessee at Arkansas. Upset candidate right there. Mizzou at Texas A&M. That's an upset candidate. Auburn at Georgia. Ole Miss at South Carolina. Alabama at Vanderbilt. And Central Florida at Florida. I would pick that one, but I don't think Central Florida beating Florida is an upset. That's probably expected. So I will say most likely upset, probably Texas A&M beats Missouri. Because technically, maybe not by the point spread, but I'm just going by the rankings. Maybe that's cheating. If we're going point spread, most likely upset. Give me South Carolina beating Ole Miss. Not predicting it. He's just asking what's the most likely upset next week. Give me South Carolina to beat Ole Miss. I still think Ole Miss will be favored, not by a ton, maybe by a touchdown. I think that's the best one. But all right, I'm gonna get off here. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for putting up with my nonsense.